I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is Where Are They Now for March of 2026. This is the series where I take a look at the games I reviewed a year ago and 5 years ago, and tell you what has changed, if anything. Also, if you missed the last video in the series, I've updated the format. I've updated the format of this series a little bit again. I'll be focusing only on games that have had some degree of meaningful change, or a reason to change, meaning they're games that I've kept, I've played since then, things like that, as opposed to just telling you, hey, that game I played 5 years ago that never played again, I still haven't played it again. So I'm only going to be focusing on things that actually have some degree of change, or even potential for change, as opposed to those that don't. Before we dive into the games, this channel is currently sponsored by Allplay, and my favorite thing about Allplay, one of my favorite things about Allplay, is nearly all of their games have incredibly short, accessible rulebooks. They even have a whole 1 minute to teach series of games, and even their more complicated games are very accessible. They do a great job of making their games easy to absorb, easy to play. It really takes accessibility to a whole new level, and in a world full of so many games, diving into theirs is one of the easier experiences I have. With that said, let's go ahead and look at 2025. 2025 saw a bunch of games that I liked and kept, and also a bunch of games that did not survive my cull to 200 games. I culled my collection down to 200 games this year, which meant a lot of things have left. We have Daybreak, a phenomenal game. That is a phenomenal game the first few times you play it. The problem is it is very repetitive. I still enjoy it, but I get to play it on Board Game Arena because my plays on Board Game Arena are enough to give me that Daybreak experience. I think it's a really excellent game that just feels too samey every time I play it. Arydia also did not survive the cull. Arydia, unfortunately, is a game that, as much as I love what Arydia is doing, my biggest problem with it is the fact that when you play Arydia, when you take a break from Arydia, going back to it is hard to dive back in because of the way the key system works and remembering what you're up to, and that kind of disincentivized me from diving back into it, or at least I tried a few times, and never really got back into it the same way. When I was playing through it like a few times a week on a regular basis, I was loving the experience, and then when I took a break for 3 months and tried diving back in, it was a rockier dive back into it, which made it a little harder for me as much as I enjoy the experience otherwise. Compile is a phenomenal lane battling game from Greater Than Games that unfortunately went under, but I believe it was picked up. I know it was picked up. Compile is an excellent two-player lane battler game. I think for me it will always be, not always, it's really hard to break through in the lane battling genre because there are so many that I thoroughly enjoy, such as Airland and Sea, Hanamakoji, which is a little lane battler adjacent. There are some excellent lane battlers out there, and Compile is very, very good, but didn't hold up. Crafting the Cosmos is one that I said I was getting rid of. I still continue to play it on Board Game Arena. I find it is a very fun game, and one of my bigger complaints was that it was very fiddly. And when you play it on Board Game Arena, the physical fiddliness, like it's physically fiddly, the physical fiddliness issues are not present on the online implementation, so I actually enjoy it more on Board Game Arena. This Federation. Federation is a phenomenal game from, I want to say, Eagle Griffin Games, that is one of those games that is on the cusp. I find that, again, with me trying to keep a collection of 200, or with me just prioritizing my time. I had someone mention in a video, it might have been the Where Are They Now for last month, I don't know, but someone mentioned that it feels like some of the joy of games is lost because I have this artificial number of trying to keep to 200. And while I hear where that person's coming from, the tricky part is I can put a game on my shelf and then just not play it, but that doesn't make me enjoy a game better. There are so many great games, and I get to play amazing games all the time. I wish I could play all of my favorite games, but I can't. And so hard choices have to be made. And Federation is one of those games that was on the cusp for me. Again, I'm still happy to play it on Board Game Arena. I'm still happy to play other people's copies. It's one of those games that's very, very close to a game I want to keep because I enjoy so many parts of it very much, but it's not in my absolute favorite of games in that genre, and so it did not stick around. Morrison Game Factory, I haven't played it since because this is a one-time experience. You can't really play this again. You already have solved the puzzle, but I love talking about it whenever I get a chance. Morrison Game Factory is one of my favorite escape room experiences that I've ever had. We have Alibis. Alibis from Allplay, still loving that one. That's been a constant grower for me. I played Alibis the first time. I was like, this is good, but it's not as good as other games. And then I continued to play it, and it continued to get better and better and better. It has entered my rotation as one of my go-to filler games, along with So Clover. I think So Clover and Alibis are probably my two most played filler games in the past year or two, and it's a great experience. We have Hutan, which did not last for me, unfortunately. Hutan was one of those games that I definitely loved when I first played it. My first play was good. My second play was, oh my gosh, I love this. As I played it more, I still thoroughly enjoyed it, but then as I played it more, it kind of lost some of the charm for me. I think the placement puzzle is a little too repetitive, and the solo scenarios are not as charming as games like Cascadia or whatnot. I still think that Hutan is excellent. I just think that it was one of those games that, as I hit play 10 or so, it started to dip for me, and it's one of the games that I played a lot because of how much I liked it, that I got to play 10 pretty quickly. And it's always tricky trying to figure out I would have thought that one would have lasted longer. That's one of those reviews that I do regret. Regret is the hard terminology, but for me, regretting a review means that my opinion on it changed sooner than I would like, and so I feel there's misleading my audience by, I like this game, and then you buy it, and then you might not have that same experience. My initial plays of Hutan were very, very solid, and again, it's not a game I reviewed after 2 plays. I played it like 5, 6 times, then reviewed it, but then when I got to like 10, 15 plays, it started to go down a bit for me, and that happened in a fairly faster arc. And I always have a few reviews every year that I regret. Hutan is one of mine from 2025. And again, regret's a loose terminology. I don't know if I could have done things differently, other than just waiting for more plays before reviewing it, but regret in terms of the impact it might have had and how it doesn't line up with my opinion of the game over time. Star Explorer from Queen Games, a delightful game, still have that one. It's a very fast, easy roll and write. It's very charming, it's very light. I still enjoy it though. Is it roll and write? It's not really roll and write, it's a flip and write. Flip and write. You're kind of flipping cards and then drawing constellations. I enjoy the puzzle of it. I've had a lot of fun with that one. Ready, Set, Bet is another one that did not last the call down to 200. That one has a different reason to it. Ready, Set, Bet is a great game and I'm still happy to play it, but I only ever play it at conventions. I've not once played it in my own house. I never even played my copy. The copy that I reviewed on the table, never played that. I've only played it at convention experiences with other players' copies, and so I debated, do I hold on to it? Maybe I'm the one being into a convention, but I don't think I need to. I've played it multiple times at conventions. I'm sure I'll play it multiple times in the future. It is a great game, although there's that new one, the I can't remember the name of it. There's that new Ready, Set, Bet version that I like just as much, maybe a drop more, but both of them are games that I play at other experiences and not ones that I feel the need to own. Onward from Skytier Games is a delightful game. They actually have an upcoming Twisted expansion for it. I hope to be diving into that soon. Onward is incredible. It has actually made me consider getting rid of Guards of Atlantis 2, which is a great game, but I just don't think I need both of them in my collection. But Onward is fantastic. It's a MOBA-style experience. It is best suited for 2 players, and the Twisted expansion has me very excited because there's also a solo mode in there that might make it even easier to table. Then there's Rise of Myth Cthulhu. This is a prototype, so it's an upcoming game, but I really enjoyed the roguelite nature of it. I thought it was a very solid experience that I am looking forward to the final game. The game I had, unfortunately, is only a taste of the game, so I gave it a 4 out of 5, but I think my grading would even go higher when I'm properly playing it as a full Slay the Spire-esque experience, as opposed to what I had, which was a taste of the experience, and therefore it was a watered-down version of the final game. Those are all the games I reviewed in March of 2025. Which brings us to March of 2021, 5 years ago. How did things go there? We had Everdell, Newleaf, and Mistwood. I love Everdell. That's the game I'm always happy to play. I will say I've played a lot of Everdell since then, but I still have not played a lot of the expansions for the original game. So I do need to play more Everdell content, but I've played a lot of different versions of Everdell since then, and Everdell is a phenomenal experience. Nothing's changed there. Super Fantasy Brawl did eventually leave, unfortunately. I had high marks for it when it first came out. I loved it a lot. I thought it was a very fun skirmish experience. Over time, I found that, especially with more content, I found that it started to feel a little bit more samey, and the initial charm of it didn't last the more you played it. Sometimes you need more depth for a game to hold up over time, and Super Fantasy Brawl is a great game. I got a good 20 plus plays out of it, but it's one of those games that, again, at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I feel I've played it out. I feel I've done the hand management. I feel I've done the little spheres of power and activating their abilities. It is still fun to combo different heroes together, but only to a point. It's one of those that didn't survive forever. It was in my collection for several years, but eventually left. Mia London and the 625 Scoundrels, I think it's called. I'm not sure. That one I might still have. I have to check my kids' shelf. I might still have that one, but I think I got rid of it. It's a great game. Very charming, very unique, very party adjacent in terms of the charm of what it's doing. But I think over time, we played it enough that it was a fun enough experience. It's kind of like a memory game with small, minute differences. Very, very fun, interesting concept. Very well done. And again, over time, we just had played it out. Wild Assent eventually left. It didn't leave then. It's been left maybe a year ago, so it lasted a long time. But Wild Assent did not last this year's campaign purge. So it lasted 5 years in my collection, and even then, it only left because, first of all, I still, foolishly or not, I still believe that Wild Assent will show up one day. But at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I've been waiting for this new copy forever. There's also that added, this distaste at Lazy Squire games and the frustrations of the delay. But that's one where I've decided to eventually let go of my current copy with the awareness that I am totally comfortable. Like, when my final copy shows up, if it shows up, which I hope it does, that is one that I still want to keep. It's not that I'm done with Wild Assent. It's that I was willing to take a gamble on either it goes away and it never comes back, or it goes away and it does come back. We'll let the fates decide. I still think Wild Assent is an excellent game. I've just played it enough. It's a good campaign game. There's Skulls of Sedlec. Phenomenal experience. One of my favorite two-player games. It's still going strong 5 years later. I still shout it out. I'm happy with all the expansion content. I think there's so many ways to play that game, and it's just a fun, charming, build a little series of graves and then decide which characters you're playing with, and then stack your little pyramids together. It's so much fun. I highly recommend Skull Sedlec. One of my favorite, if not my favorite, button shy game. Then there's Nidavallir. Nidavallir lasted my collection for a few years. I really enjoy that. It's a fascinating bidding mechanism where you're trying to bid on these tokens and then use those tokens to try to power up your coins as you gather more cards. A very strong set collection from Hachette, I believe. I believe this was before Hachette was really popular. I think Nidavallir may have been one of the games that made Hachette more popular in this market, but it's a solid game. I still enjoy it. I just eventually, several years later, I decided to move on from it. Then there's Arma, which was a giant Crokinole style game that was very, very charming, but Crokinole is just better, and over time Crokinole is the one that, I still have Arma, by the way. I still have it somewhere, but I don't play it anymore. It's a very big wooden block, and I finally gave up on playing it, but it's an excellent experience. Just Crokinole is better. Then there's Zombie Kids Legacy. Zombie Kids Legacy. I had them in my collection till last year. We finally finished. I played it way back, and then we never really fully finished it. Then we went back to it several years later, and I finished it with my kids last year, and then went to Zombie Teens. Finished both of those. So both of those are great legacy games for kids. I don't think I'd recommend them for like an adult, but like for kids, they're great intro to legacy games. Although there's others as well. I'm actually really enjoying Labyrinth Legacy, and I'm going through a second play already with my children and having them enjoy it. So there are good legacy games that are enjoyable for adults and kids as well, although Zombie Kids is going to be a drop cheaper than Labyrinth Chronicles. Then lastly, there's V-Commandos. V-Commandos is one that, I'm always sad about V-Commandos in Assassin's Creed, because I got rid of V-Commandos because I prefer, or V-Sabotage, they renamed it. I got rid of that in favor of Assassin's Creed, which I think is a better experience. But then over time I got rid of Assassin's Creed because of the same issue as Arydia, where it became too hard to go back to it without feeling the need to just reset from the start. They're both phenomenal games. I'm hoping that SAS Rogue Regiment becomes the game that replaces this for me and becomes the better experience, but we shall see what happens over time. Anyways, this has been Where Are They Now? A look back at how games have fared over 1 year and 5 years later. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.